Can you tell us about the China plus one strategy? How and why the US companies are thinking about that?
Definitely. I think as an outcome of the pandemic, a number of US retailers and manufacturers realized that reliance only on China could be a risk, one from the supply chain perspective as well as from a geopolitical perspective. And I think that is where a number of companies have started looking for a plus one, which is a China plus one strategy. That could be, the US itself in terms of bringing manufacturing back. That could be Mexico from a reshoring, nearshoring perspective, or it could be India or other Asian countries.
So how does India fits into it?
I
Why
think
would US companies would go to India?
absolutely. I think that's a great question because I think India is right now the only large economy in Asia that has the capability to manufacture on the scale that China does, which is completely outside of the China sphere of influence. We've seen Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia appear, as credible competitors, but again, uh, there are interactions with China, and there's not as much of a freedom from China as India enjoys. Plus, from a US perspective, India shares democracy DNA, which is a huge plus. India speaks English fluently. There's growing ties between India and US that give confidence to companies here to venture.
Um, Recently, means the last several years, there has been increasing the relationship with India and US have a strengthened and further deepened with the Prime Minister. There's a new ecosystem there. How is it helpful in US companies taking a call on moving their base from China to India?
Right. I think that has the Modi government and the Make in India program and several other initiatives. I think they have really given a lot of confidence to companies out here that the government is really out to invest in building a massive manufacturing economy. Everybody in the US, 10 years back used to think manufacturing China and services and software go to India. I think that perception is changing now, and that's thanks to the Modi government and all the investments made in the US India relationships.
When US companies think about moving their base to India, what are the things they are looking into it?
I think they look for several different factors. One of them is what kind of support they can get from the government, just from a startup perspective. So which often starts with what kind of subsidies they can get in terms of taxes, land leases, allocations of those kind. I think they are also looking for help in building logistics infrastructure, because a lot of that comes up a lot in our discussion, especially that whole corridor from the north coming all the way to the Nhava Sheva port in Bombay is extremely important. And I think all the highways and the rail systems, etc., I think they need a tremendous amount of push and support from the government to build those, because really the logistics route starts from Nhava Sheva through the Suez Canal and then to the US East Coast. And I think that presents an alternative to the China supply chain, which comes from the Chinese East Coast into Los Angeles.
Can you tell us about Moglix, what it does in this space?
Right. So Moglix has this mission of enabling over 20,000 suppliers in India to get ready to export into the US. And we talk to these suppliers. They are hungry, they want to expand, but there are some critical capabilities that are missing. One of the things a number of our suppliers struggle with is having a sales presence in on US soil, the ability to go and have conversations with major Fortune 500 companies, convince them of their capabilities in India, and make those business relationships. And so that is one of the many gaps that we have observed in this US India value chain, and we are trying to fill in those gaps.
One last question I want to ask you. What can the government of India do in addition to what they have done so far to facilitate, to help US corporate sector to take a decision in favor of India?
No, I think that's a brilliant question, and I would say that requires quite a bit of food for thought for on both sides of the spectrum. But I think I think trips like PM Modi's recent trip, I think those generate a tremendous amount of confidence, and I think similarly, other government leaders, business executives, coming here and making that case for India over and over repeatedly. I think that is a massive confidence building exercise. And similarly, when an Apple goes and establishes itself in India, when a Walmart goes to India, and with PM Modi announces a $10 billion India sourcing goal by 2027, I think those are data points that then every corporation here starts talking about and thinking about it. That gives them the confidence and food for thought to actually move operations to India.